Converis is a research information platform purchased by the University of Regina with modules for academic program review, administration of grants and contracts, and applications to the Research Ethics Board. As of January 2023, all new REB applications are entered into and reviewed using the Converis platform. The workflow of applications is the same as it was previously. However, it is now automated through the platform. In this video, we will see how to access and review Research Ethics Board applications as an REB reviewer and show how to upload and submit your reviews. I'll begin by going over the resources available and a system overview. Then we will log in and look at the dashboard in Converis to see how you can view and track applications as a reviewer. Then we'll go over the different ways you can navigate in Converis. And finally, I'll show you how to upload and submit your review. So this is the workflow diagram for the standard application by student. So this would be the workflow followed by an application that's submitted by a student that will then have to go to their supervisor for approval. So just for a little bit of background, applications are entered by the principal investigator. They start off in the status of draft, and then they save them into in preparation. When they are ready, they will submit the application to supervisor's review. If the supervisor is happy with the application, they will then change the status to compliance review. And this is the same as submitting the application. This is when it reaches our office and kind of begins the review process. Or the supervisor has the option to make notes and send the application back to the student for modifications. The workflow is almost identical for applications submitted by faculty or staff. It just takes out that supervisor review portion of the workflow. So then once the application comes to the compliance officer for review, if it's the lowest level of risk, when they're happy with the application, they can change the status and submit it to the REB chair for review. Or if they feel that something's unclear or something substantial is missing from the application, they can send it back to the primary investigator and ask them to make any modifications or additions to the application before resubmitting it. And then for applications that are considered to be minimal risk, so kind of that medium level of risk, and this is where the reviewers come in. Those applications, the compliance officer would tag and change the status to review required, and this is when it lands on the ethics assistant desk, and they would set up the review sheets. And this is where you guys are flagged as reviewers. And I'll show you this portion of the workflow in a little bit more detail in a second. But this is the kind of the process that you're involved in right here in the middle. And then once that's done, those minimal risk applications will be sent to the chair for review. The chair will complete their NER, or the Notice of Ethical Review, and then that will be sent to the applicant. The applicant can make their response, and then that goes back to the chair, and that cycle will take place until the chair is happy with the responses and is ready to review the application, at which point they would save it as approved, and the applicant will receive an automatic email telling them that it is indeed approved. The workflow for the review sheet. So once it comes to the ethics assistant, what they do, the review sheet is a separate entity from the application form. It's located on the review tab, which we'll get to in a few moments here. And this enables us to have separate statuses for different review sheets, allowing us to track their completion. So the review sheet is created by the admin assistant. And then when it's saved, so they create it, they save it as in preparation if they need to come back to it, which isn't too likely. But then once it's done, they save it as review required. And this generates an automatic email to the ethics reviewer so that you know that you have an application that's ready for you to review. So you'll receive a system generated email to your inbox. And then from there, once you go in and you review the application, you'll be able to choose whether you want to either complete the review, or if you have a conflict of some sort, a conflict of interest, or for some reason you're not able to complete the review, then you would go in and save it as review declined so that we know that we need to assign another reviewer. So to begin with, you're probably going to want to start on the forms page of the ethics website. So the easiest way I find to do that is to go to the University of Regina homepage, and in the top right corner, there's the search button. If you put in ethics forms and hit enter, usually the first option that pops up is going to be ethics forms. And if you click on that, that will take you to the forms page, which has all of the information that we have to date about the Converis system. It has a login for the system. For your convenience, there's some information on how to request access if you don't already have access. And then there's also some information sessions that we'll be hosting on an ongoing session. But most importantly for you guys, there are a number of resources available. So on this site, you can download the Converis manual for reviewers. You can download the quick sheet for reviewers. There's a link you can use, as I said, to log in. And if you're a community member, please note that you will have received an email with the login and credentials to access the platform. So one of the resources that's available to you is the Converis manual for reviewers. The Converis manual is a step-by-step instruction manual of how to complete a review, all the way from logging in, seeing how to check to see what reviews are required, all the way through to submitting reviews and making sure that they're no longer in your things to do list. The manual has a clickable table of contents so that you can skip to whatever section it is that you need. It also has a FAQ section of common questions that we've received, and that will be populated and updated regularly as different questions come in. So it is recommended that you don't keep the manual saved and refer back to it, that you always go to the website and make sure that you have the most recent version of the document available to you so that you have all of those FAQs as they get populated. So we do recommend that you follow the manual for the first few reviews that you complete. But then once you're a little bit more comfortable with the system, we have created a 2-page quick sheet that just gives the instructions on how to log in, how to access files, how to review things, what you need to click on, and then what you need to do to upload your review and save it so that it shows that the review is complete. So after you kind of get a little bit more comfortable with the system, hopefully you'll just be able to refer to the shorter quick sheet, and that will help you get through the review process. As well, we have updated the guidance notes document that's available to applicants when they submit their application. So these used to be the little hyperlinks on the old PDF form. It's now been completely revised to account for the different order of the questions and some new guidance that's available. So the guidance notes have the relevant sections of the TCPS2 for each of the questions. And they also have other links to guidance documents, policies, best practices for each of the sections of the standard application. So you might want to have this open while you're reviewing applications if you're not too familiar with some of the information that's on it. Now, when you were assigned a new review, you will receive an email to your email account that we have on file for you, indicating that a review is ready. So this is what the email will look like. It will tell you the application number and the title, and tell you that there's an REB application ready for your review. And it'll also give you the deadline for when it needs to be submitted, which is usually 2 weeks from when it's assigned. From there, there's a link that you can use to log in, or you can use the link from the website, or if you've got it bookmarked, that will work as well. So once you log in, the first place that it's to log in, you're going to use your Novell credentials. So these are going to be the same as what you use to log into the network, to your U of R email account, and what you would use for UR courses. If you've enrolled in Duo authentication, then you will need to send a push to your phone, or if you have a fob that you've received, so that you can authorize the login. If you haven't enrolled in Duo authentication, then you'll just log in as you would, entering your username and password with your Novell credentials. And the first thing you're going to see when you log in is it's going to take you to the dashboard as a researcher. So if you look in the top right-hand corner, it shows you what role you are logged into, and you will have different roles depending on what you're going to be doing in the system. So the researcher role is always going to be the default, and that's the role that's assigned to everyone with access to the system. And this is the role that you would use to submit your own REB application or to review applications of your students. But to review files as an REB reviewer, you're going to need to switch roles to ethics reviewer. So to do that, you're going to click in the top right-hand corner on the down arrow beside your name, and then you're going to pick switch role. And then you will probably have fewer options, but you will have a role called ethics reviewer followed by your name. So you're going to select that one. And then from here, this is where you'll kind of conduct all of your reviews that are related to your work on the research ethics board. Now, there's a few different ways that you can see what applications require review. Now, as I showed you before in that workflow, the review sheet has a separate workflow. So it kind of shows up separately than the application itself, even though they're linked. So you can see under things to do, if you click on view all, it gives you a list of review sheets. So review sheet number 191, and then the application number. But it's better because you need to review the application and then upload your review to the review sheet. It's recommended instead that you click on the left-hand side under REB applications and look at the applications that are required here. So this will show you what applications require your attention, and then you'll be able to look for the one that's referred to in the email that you got. So this was number 680, and to open it, you're going to click on View Edit. And then this takes you into the application. So you're going to need to review the information under each of Form Part 1, Form Part 2, the declaration, and then you're going to just see the review tab at the end, and that's where you're going to be uploading your review. Now, what I would recommend is you have a document open alongside of the screen while you're reviewing so that you can enter your comments along as you go. There will be a template provided, but it's currently being updated. So if a new template hasn't been provided, please just use whatever format is easier for you. So you can navigate by either using your scroll button and scrolling down through the application and reading each of the different sections. So there's a certificate of approval section. If there's an attachment, you can just click on the icon beside it and then pick where you want to save the attachment to. And then from there, click save, and then you'll have to go back and open it again. We do suggest you're going to want to delete all of these documents when you're done with your review. So you might want to start a new folder that you're keeping these in so that you can keep them separate and then make sure that you are deleting them in a timely manner. And then there's different ways to navigate through each of the tabs. You can either just keep scrolling all the way through and reading all the responses. When you get to the bottom, there is going to be a place that you can click just to get to the next part. So kind of going through it in sequence that way. If you click on the ellipses at the top right, you can skip ahead through different sections. So if maybe you see something in one section and you want to go back and refer to something that you think you read under the overview, you can skip back by clicking on the ellipses. You can also just click on the tabs across the top to get to the next tab. So Form Part 1 and Part 2 are kind of all the meat and potatoes, the questions related to what they're doing with the study. The declaration section has the list of personnel, and then it also has the conflict of interest declaration and the declaration by principal investigator. And then under the review tab, this is where you're going to be able to access your review sheet. So if you scroll down kind of to the middle, you'll see a section called Review Sheets. You will be able to see who the other reviewers are, but you will not be able to see their review sheets. As well, the applicant will not be able to see any of this section. So people whose applications you're reviewing will never know that you're a reviewer. So locate the review sheet with your name. So beside your name, there's going to be a pencil. You want to click on the pencil and that will open your review sheet. So if you look at the bottom, you'll see there's two boxes in the bottom. The bigger box on the left-hand side is the application. And then this shows that you're in a review sheet, which is kind of a separate subpart of the application. And then under reviewers' comments, this is where you're going to upload your comments when you're done reviewing the application. So to do that, you're going to just click on the folder. And then wherever you've saved your comments on the application, you'll locate that document. Click on it. So I'm just going to pick a random form and then you'll click on open. And then that will attach your comments to the application. You can enter a description. And then that will add the description. If you realize that you added comments in error or you wanted to make a change, you can just click on the little garbage pail and that will delete them. And then you can upload whatever it is again. If you need to upload more than one document, you can do that. If there's maybe a reference document or something that you wanted to provide, you can upload it. And then once you're done, you're going to click on Done. And this is where you also have the option to decline a review. So if you had a conflict of interest and you were a member of the research team, or maybe we accidentally assigned an application and it was your student, then you would want to decline the review. So you would click on Declined and Done. If you wanted to come back to the application and work on it more, you could just click on Cancel, but you could also click on Leave it in the review required status and select Done. But if you're done and you're ready to submit the review, you would click on Complete and Done. And this saves the review sheet, but you still need to update the application, and this is really important. So now you have to click on Save and Close. And then you want to make sure the status is going to be left in Ethics Review and click Done. And then that process will generate an email to the ethics assistant showing them that the review is complete. So that's really important so that we can track where these reviews are at. And then I do suggest that when you're done, you go back to the list of applications and make sure that that review sheet is no longer listed under your things to do section of your dashboard. That way, you know, it makes sure that you clicked on all the right things and saved everything appropriately, and it's not just sitting there waiting to be submitted. One more thing that you can do is if you'd rather look at a PDF of an application, kind of one big document with all of the questions and answers in one place, you can click on this hyperlink. So where it's the file number and the title, you can click on that. And then this will generate a document that has all of the questions and all of the responses in one place. So it's just one big long document with minimal formatting. If there's attachments, you can click on them through this document, just as you did through the application form itself. And if for some reason you wanted to create a PDF, you could just click the Create PDF button in the top right. So that is all the instructions on how to complete your review. Thank you so much for being a reviewer. If you have any questions, you can always contact research.ethics@uregina.ca or call 306-585-4775. Thanks again.